Welcome to the A for No, E for Yes podcast. It is currently 12:38 a.m., January 1st, 2024, and I am doing chores. Dishes. Not because of any kind of resolution. I actually had New Year's Eve party for the kids with some members of my church tonight, and we brought a cheese and pepperoni cracker board, charcuterie board kind of thing. And, well, while making it, we had to wash a dish. We didn't have room to wash the dish because our dishwashing sink was so full. And so I'm taking care of it tonight so that the first day of the year tomorrow can be something where we don't have to worry about our sink being full of dishes from our lovely time off that we've had. Speaking of time off, though, as you can tell, this isn't going to be a regular episode. Cam, Anthony, and I, we made the decision over these past 2 weeks not to record anything game-related, to be honest. Just a lot of other things have come up with the holiday season. A lot of other priorities have presented themselves. And as such, we haven't really been able to get prepared and give it the attention that we normally give one of our episodes. But yeah, so I figured instead I would record a New Year's message to everyone. First of all, Happy New Year's. Second of all, it's been a wild year. I think we're sitting right around 66 episodes out so far. In 2024, if everything goes well, we'll probably get past our 75th, but we probably won't make it all the way to our 100th, which I know is like a big milestone for podcasters. I don't know how much we subscribe to that kind of thing since, we go at such a slow pace, but would be cool to see. My head is kind of spinning. Kate and I decided that tonight before the ball drop, we were going to watch Asteroid City. And if you know me, you know my head is spinning right now because of that. That movie it's the first time I've ever seen it, but it's a movie it's almost meant to make you think along with the people who created it in such a way where you know that it has meaning, you just don't know what that meaning is right away, necessarily. And I feel like I could watch that movie just many times in the future and still be gaining new things, seeing new details. But I'm not here on the podcast to talk about the movie. I'm just letting you know where my psyche's at currently. I did want to talk about the podcast a little bit. When we first set out to cover Tears of the Kingdom, we were very excited about the idea of going straight from Breath of the Wild into its direct sequel. And just in time as well. We finished our Breath of the Wild episode just as Tears of the Kingdom was about to release, such that we could kind of make a continuous line of episodes that made it so that our season opened up right when the game came out. We had about a week or so to play that first opening sequence before we can then record our reactions to it. I know some other podcasts have done a similar thing and are now already through the game. I know the Book of Medora, I think, just finished covering Tears of the Kingdom. I know Chat of the Wild, if you listen to them, they did a Tears of the Kingdom episode pretty much right off the bat, or a season, if you will. I think they all kind of recorded and played in very rapid succession upon the release of the game, and then just kind of edited along with their normal schedule from there. At least that's what I gathered from listening. And to be clear, before I get into what I want to talk about, we love this game. The day it came out, we were all playing it at the same time on Discord. We fell in love with it immediately. New abilities were all great. Made everything feel super fresh from Breath of the Wild, even though we had played one right into the other. And I don't think any of us anticipated just how big the game would be. And therein lies part of the problem that we're facing today. So let me quote a proverb here. And I know probably a good portion of our listeners aren't necessarily here for biblical proverbs, but just for the sake of what I'm saying, I do feel like there's some wisdom in this. It is Proverbs 25:16. It says, if you find honey, eat only what you need, otherwise you'll get sick from it and vomit. We aren't sick of Tears of the Kingdom, but we are struggling with figuring out what the right amount is. How much do we need? The game is incredibly expansive. I have completed the shrines. I've completed the light roots. I've completed the Bubble Frog quest. I stopped there. I didn't do any of the Goroks. I beat the game. I'm finished with it now. Done all of the temples and all of that. That being said, I have spent literally hundreds of hours in the game. And part of me beating it so early on, before we were even halfway through our season, was because I was feeling like I needed a break. I know that this might not resonate well, but after playing Breath of the Wild, moving into Tears of the Kingdom, as much as you love an open world and you love the Zelda experience, it is possible to burn out on open world Zelda. When I first started playing the game, I remember seeing things online from critics, game reviewers, that kind of gave that warning, like, hey, this game is great, but there's just too much of it. And I didn't believe it. And I was like, there's no way. Like, this game is great, and I'm going to just enjoy every minute. And to be fair, like, the time that I had played with the game, I did enjoy it. And when I felt that I was getting to that point where I needed to have a break, I was able to gauge that and be done with it, to finish it and move on to some other games for a little while, including other Zelda titles. Like, I started a Twilight Princess run recently, something to get me back to like a more linear, more concise story versus just the infinite exploration. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, as much as Tears of the Kingdom does rewrite a lot of areas in the game, it doesn't outright refresh everything, and you end up spending a lot of time knowing right where you are because you've already been there. And with the amount that I've explored in Breath of the Wild at this point, and in Tears of the Kingdom, I can confidently say that Hyrule doesn't feel as big as it once did in these games. Suddenly you find yourself taking shortcuts to get places, and you find yourself less interested in finding the new details and things that you've, for the most part, already have seen. And so I know that we've had, like this vacation, not only was it, other priorities have come up, but also we've all been kind of feeling like we just need to take a breath, and then, come back to it in time. Now, we only have maybe a third of the season left. Like, we're past our halfway point, for sure. And a lot of the end game things are actually some of the most exciting things that there are to talk about in this game. And I'm hoping then that can kind of revitalize how we're feeling about playing, about recording, about getting through the rest of this season, without losing any kind of enthusiasm on our sessions, on our episodes. But I mean, we've played a bunch of other games this year, and I think that it would be really great if we could get a chance to talk about some of those games. So I'm hoping that for our next episode, instead of continuing our Tears of the Kingdom season, which we will do in time, we're going to take an episode just to talk about some other games that we've played in 2023, talk about what our top lists are, not necessarily of games that were released this year, but just of games that we played this year, both as solo players and as the three of us playing together, and kind of give our little, like a review sesh or a list of recommendations. So that will probably, hopefully, come out on the 15th. And then the next episode after that, we will get back into Tears of the Kingdom and continue our run. That's my hope. That's the plan as of today. As for the direction of the podcast in general, we'll probably still be in Tears of the Kingdom through the first third of the year. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, every episode's 2 weeks, so every 2 episodes is a month. We have maybe 6 episodes left, so 3 months worth. So first quarter of the year. if that math is mathing. But of course, if we're doing the first month, these episodes, then, it wouldn't be until 4 months in or a third of the year in. And then we hope to go to a different game. Right now we have slated Minish Cap, which should be fun. It's definitely a whole different tone from what we're playing right now. And I don't think the guy, like anybody but me on the cast here, has actually played the game before. So it'll be fresh for them in more ways than it is for me, which I think will be good. I think that'll only serve to benefit the project. I just want to do some mentions of some cool things that have happened this year. Partway through the year, I was able to have a wonderful opportunity to guest on the Hello Hyrule podcast. I was able to join them for their Ocarina of Time Lost Woods episode. They are one of my favorite Legend of Zelda podcasts, and I'm super grateful to be able to have guested on that show. And to be honest, since that guest appearance, our own numbers have taken off in a way that they had not before. And I can only imagine that some of that is because some of their listeners had decided to give us a try since that guest episode. And I'm super appreciative of that. Like, one of the things that Pete and Chris have done really well is they've started like a Discord community where they have all kinds of discussions, like all kinds of lore discussions. I participated in a couple of those, but also have had like events and some like character tournaments and things like that. I mean, by now they're probably doing their sorties episode for the Ocarina of Time and everything like that. And I wish the best to them. I should also mention that I had the opportunity to also guest on a Milk Bar episode with Brian from Chat of the Wild, another podcast that I tend to follow and listen to, depending on their content. Sometimes I don't always listen to the Gaiden episodes, but mainly because I like to listen to episodes about games that I've already actually played, things that I can relate back to. I don't think that they would despise me for sharing that. I think they kind of go into those episodes knowing that, but like us, they don't. I think they record for the love of the games and for the love of being able to discuss them, not for how people take their content. So I had a great opportunity to guest on an episode where we just talked about, status updates with where we were at with Tears of the Kingdom and things like that. And I know for that episode, we were both kind of feeling a little exhausted from the late hour that we were recording that. But otherwise, it was a great talk, great time. I would love to do more with them in the future. And perhaps that opportunity will present itself. Some great collaborative opportunities. And, we're always hoping to be able to do more of that. And it's not always the easiest thing to pull off. It's one of the things I applaud about their efforts this year, both Hello Hyrule and Chat of the Wild, is their collaborative projects that they both took on. Hello Hyrule decided to record most of their episodes in the first quarter to half of the year, and somehow pulled off several guest appearances in that time. And Chat of the Wild has been doing the Milk Bar episodes with other podcasters, other Zelda fans as well, and it's been really cool to see both of those things go down. So hopefully in the future, more people will be taking on projects like that, including ourselves, if we can. We will see more collaborative efforts across the Zelda community. I think that would be a really wonderful thing to see in 2024. I know a lot of the other podcasts that I listen to have straight up taken a holiday break in the week between Christmas and New Year's, which I also very much respect. It just goes along with that same, people need time off of things every once in a while, And, we do our best to try to keep to our schedule. I know that sometimes we fail. Sometimes we just can't make a recording happen. And I know we've been late a few weeks this year. And it always feels good to get back to things. Yeah. I don't know. I think I will save some of the year in review talk for our next episode. But I will. I did want to leave you all with just a thanks for the incredible year that we've had, both in streaming personally and in the podcast, in the way that it just really seems like we've gotten more people who share this love of the series that we do, who are willing to engage with our content, who are willing to come in and lend an ear. And so I don't know, it just feels like what we're doing is reaching people and connecting with people. And that's always like the best part. Like that's the reason we're doing this. I think that's like the biggest thing is just being able to share in the fandom with others and be able to make something creative that expresses the appreciation that we have for this game series. So yeah, hoping that 2024 can bring even more growth. Once again, I hope you all have a great 2024, and we will catch you on the next episode. Did you get all that?